NGN's presentation of the U.S. Open Ultimate Championships brought to you by Elemental Technologies, perfecting the media experience with multi-screen delivery solutions for the modern world, and Patagonia, team sales and discounts for athletes seeking exceptional quality and peak performance.
The 2014 USA Ultimate US Open, Next Gen Networks coverage, Day 2, Round 2 in the women's division. Seattle Riot versus London Iceni, coming from across the pond to play an international competition. I'm Brian Jones here with Megan Multeney. We have ourselves an exciting game in the women's division today. Both teams very high-powered. Iceni coming off of a close game with defending champion Scandal, and Riot has been running through this tournament thus far, Megan.
We got this first point underway here with one of Riot's newest additions, Kelly Johnson with the pull and now on the mark.
Alperin. As we go, Iceni trying to work it down the field. Burke, as he worked one of the captains. Turnover early on for Iceni. Johnson gets the pole, gets down there quickly on defense. Going the other way now is Riot. A little bit of wind to start out this game, 5 to 10 miles an hour. Stern. McDowell. Riot has often been the bridesmaid to Fury. Last year, though, it was Scandal breaking through, and Riot now trying to showcase their own depth, as the women's division has been very competitive at this U.S. Open.
It really has. You know, I think we had a lot of hype going into this tournament for Brute Squad. They had some major roster pickups for Scandal coming off that national championship win last year, as well as for Fury looking to get back on top. And not so much news kind of out of Seattle, but Riot having a really strong day yesterday and looking good so far this morning. McDowell to Kawhi, which can't just reel it in going upwind, and Iceni will have another shot at the disc.
Bryant picking up. Captains for Iceni, Ange Wilkinson, Sonia Komenda, going deep, caught just before the goal line. Burke dishes it off, gets it back for the score. Iceni goes up 1-0 over Seattle Riot.
And this is something that we're going to be seeing from Iceni all day. They love their deep game. They love to threaten deep. McDowell pulls off the stack, back of the stack there to try to get that help D, but just outrun. Nice little bit of creative offensive work and able to toe that in for the score. That's number 27, Isabella Burke, one of the veteran players of this Iceni team. I take that back. This is her first year with the team.
First, looking at our elemental keys to the game. First, looking at Riot. They're going to try to take away the big play capability of this Iceni squad.
So we saw that Iceni attacking deep right away on this first point, so that's going to be something Riot's going to have to manage. And also roster depth. Riot has often struggled with injury the past few years, but they have a number of players returning in Bailey Zonizer, Alyssa Weatherford, and they are looking at a very talented roster that they're going to have to manage throughout this tournament.
On the other side, Iceni looking to limit Riot's break looks. Riot full of great throwers in this women's division.
Absolutely, and if they can apply that reset pressure and force Riot into some tight situations, they're going to be able to force some turns here.
O'Malley.
That break look we talked about to start from O'Malley.
Griffith. Looking for the reset. Wind playing a factor early on, going deep over the top. D for Iceni.
Alyssa Weatherford looking to put that floaty out to space to Khalees Cardenas, but the Iceni defender able to get up big, close that gap. Good defensive positioning, and kind of an interesting shot for Riot. Kind of a risky look.
Alex Meixner will get with the D. Going the other way, right back to Riot. Iceni playing with a little bit of confidence early on here.
And that maybe, they didn't have the best game or the best day yesterday, but they had a great game with Scandal in the first round this morning, losing 9-12.
Riot fits it in for the goal. Kingery coming down with it in the end zone. 1-1, we're all tied up.
So not the best decision from Riot early in that possession, but able to get the D back off of a drop from Iceni, and then just a nice put out to space. Kate Kingery tracking down that disc for the Riot goal.
All tied up at ones. It looks like this way will be an upwind, downwind game. Both teams scoring in the downwind direction so far.
So the wind is traveling. If you're at home looking at your screen, the wind is traveling from the left to the right side of your screen. Riot is going to be pulling upwind to start this D point. And that's, we're going to see Rory Titcomb with the disc for this Riot side. She's another player who was sidelined last year. She had an injury, ACL. She's kind of been plagued with injury throughout her career, but her pull is one of the best in the women's division. You know, would love to see her going downwind. She can put it in the back of the end zone. Going upwind, she's going to give Riot the D-line a good chance to get down there and apply some pressure. It's great to see her back in the game.
Riot is set to pull. Early on in these win games, it happened yesterday with Fury versus Scandal. We saw a lot of wind early. The wind could change throughout this game, but you have to think the first team to get an upwind break is going to have a significant advantage moving forward.
It's absolutely true. That pull will sail out of bounds, allowing Riot to set up their D here. It's Angie Wilkinson, one of the captains of this Iceni team, picking up the disc to start.
Wilkinson, Hostak for Iceni. See if they can do better than their Clapham counterparts from yesterday. We saw Clapham facing off against the other Seattle men's team.
A convincing win for Sockeye.
Rawls looking back for Wilkinson. Now forced to go upfield. Garampi towards the end zone. Iceni just able to move it up with in-cut after in-cut so far. There is a pick on the play. I'm going to come back to the thrower. To the end zone for the score. Iceni, no trouble keeping pace in this game thus far.
That was a little too easy there from Riot. We see Iceni's number 9, Jackie Verrills, able to just get some space to that open side. It's an easy open side throw. Bailey Zonizer giving chase, but just a little too much following right now from Riot's defenders. Not enough kind of dictating that space with their bodies. They're going to need to kind of amp up that physicality a little bit and really force Iceni into throwing some more uncomfortable throws.
2-1. Said early on that Riot had to respect the deep threat from Iceni. And Iceni so far adjusting well to the fact that it wasn't available, especially in this downwind situation, and not just playing a punt and play D style. See now if Riot's offensive line can get us back into it.
We see one of the Riot captains, number 3, Gwen Ambler, out there on the line. Her number is 3. She's number 4 on the line. You can expect her to be a big player today for Riot. They're very talented. They have so much depth this year. You've got downfield threats and veterans like Kate Kingery, Khalees Cardenas, so fast. Hannah Kawhi, big target.
Really short pull, though, from Iceni. Doesn't make it to half field. Weatherford picking up the disc. Weatherford now with one throw. They're near the goal line. Kawhi to the end zone for the score. Finds Cardenas for the score.
It's a 2-pass possession for Riot. Alyssa Weatherford able to find Hannah Kawhi in that IO under, and Kawhi just puts it out to space. Khalees Cardenas is one of the speediest players in this women's division. Able to get that easy separation from her defender. Nice kind of conservative point for Riot, able to punt it or punch in that downwinder.
We can see in the women's division, really there's a lack of speedsters, a lack of depth of speedsters across the board, so it can be very valuable to have a couple of players that are very fast. You look at teams like Scandal who have Jorgensen and Payne who can just able to run around the field at will makes a big difference.
Well, I disagree. I believe there are a lot of speedsters in the game, but you have people, kind of Sandy Jurgensen is at that level that's one cut above, right? She was an elite track runner at a D1 school. You can really see kind of that pedigree in her and a few other players. But I think it's unfair to say there's not a lot of speed in the women's game. We see Sarah Griffith out there. She's also a very speedy player for Riot. And it's a different pace, right? We're coming in from a men's game, and we just have to kind of adjust things accordingly.
Iceni going the other way, tied at 2s.
Going with the split stack here from Iceni.
Underneath, looking deep right away. This is a classic look for Iceni that we came to expect. Wilkeson can't get there. Baral's looking deep.
And Riot looking like they expected that right away. Zanez are able to pull off of the far stack to help out with that D. Just sails too far for Wilkinson.
Going the other way. First team for an upwind score. Looking for the options. Not much available backfield. Dowell. Zanheiser. Riot trying to stay patient. Inside break. Riot not gaining very many yards at this time. Too high. Turnover going back to Iceni.
And that was good pressure there from Iceni. It was hard for those resets to get off. They didn't get the ones they wanted. Forced to go back the other way, and that's Katie Craley. Just couldn't reel it in on the sideline for Riot, giving the short field for Iceni.
Thompson looking for the break in the score. Now forced to go around, tipped up in the air, caught, gets the disc back. Thompson now gets the dump off. Bryant snagged out of the air to the end zone, too far, too low.
There will be a foul on the throw.
Barals has been absolutely cutting all over the place for this Iceni squad so far. Over the top for the goal. Iceni stays out in front, 3-2.
Nice little high backhand. Get away with that going in the downwind direction. And that's Scarampy to reel it in, keeping us on serve here early in this game. Some nice heads-up cognizant play from Iceni's number 6, Lauren Bryant, after she threw that dump too close. The defender gets a hand on it, pops up, and just having enough awareness to come down with it.
Early on in this game, I wonder if the wind is going to favor Iceni, who has been trying to break through and play in this competitive division, able to play close to Scandal last game, but so far no team has proven the ability to work upwind.
The wind can be an equalizer. Thus far, that seems like what we're seeing, just some miscues by both teams, some not executing of those upwind throws.
Riot with open in cuts. Iceni playing deep off the start. Working it down the field quickly. Griffith.
And that was a lovely break there from Dominique Dom Fontanet. It's exactly what we're talking about from Riot's offense. Able to generate some separation, come for the under, and immediately look to that break to Sarah Griffith. Fortunate they weren't able to keep the momentum going that way, but Cardenas with another break to Griffith.
Inside break for the score, but pick on the play going back. drop by Riot near the end zone. We'll see if Iceni can punish that mistake.
We've got a long way to go upwind. Haven't seen a team do it yet.
Wind really coming in now, 15, 20 miles an hour easily, maybe gusting at higher speeds than that. Iceni working it with confidence. Burstein. Iceni moving it around. Still trying to stay patient as they go upwind. After the turnover, so far we haven't seen either team, I believe, make it past midfield in the upwind direction. Weatherford.
And Riot now opening it up, starting with that lovely little break from Alyssa Weatherford.
3-3, still on serve.
So Weatherford, another longtime Riot player who was sidelined last year, also with an ACL tear. She's known for having somewhat unconventional throwing mechanics that kind of are able to keep her marks off balance, coming out of Western Washington, and it's great to see her back kind of anchoring this Riot handler line. Icini's going to have to deal with her breaks. They're doing a good job of containing downfield on the open side and forcing that first turn of that possession, but really have to work on the marks to limit those Riot throwers to exploit into that break side of the field. We thought this was going to be a healthy Riot team coming into this weekend, but we do see some faces missing from the field. We got Callie Ma on the sidelines in sandals. She actually just got a diagnosis of a torn ACL from the college season where she was a standout with Western Washington this year. And we also see Nora Carr sitting out, unsure what her status is, but she is a big-time downfield target for Riot's O-line. So missing both those teams, and the injuries still coming for Riot, unfortunately, even at this early point in the season.
This moves around Thompson, now in the backfield by Iceni. And here you're wondering, Riot throwing the zone, you want to try to get a short field in these situations. It can be good to be risky and try to force them to take back options repeatedly and make that mistake.
Riot looking for this upwind chance to break. It also limits Icini's ability to just huck it with these, have these big marks, Alyssa Weatherford in the middle.
I think with Iceni here, if you're looking at the strategy right now, any turnover in your own half of the field is not going to be good. I wouldn't waste my time. You've been getting Ds. I would just go ahead and take a chance. You throw it deep well already. You don't want a miscommunication on a dump or just an errant throw, which is more likely to happen in this wind. I like Riot's strategy right now of forcing them. You can see there's nobody on the mark right now, giving a lot of space for those back throws.
Well, Cardena's doing a good job taking opportunities to pressure that handler, forcing her to not be able to gain yardage. You see she peels off here, forces that off handler to have to come off, and we see it work out for them with just an Iceni drop.
Weatherford. Right now, 25 yards to go. This would be a big opportunity. Stern. Weatherford trying to communicate. Inside break. Nice throw in space. Stern. Marching upfield. Titcomb to the goal. Tipped in the air. Zanheiser can't come down with it.
They're going to go back and set it after this turn just pops up in and out of Zanheiser's hands.
Wilkeson. Over the top, a mistake by Iceni gives Riot the short field. Great opportunity to break upwind.
Iceni had the deep Katie Curley split with two people, but they choose to go for the swing instead of the huck look here. And Riot on the doorstep for the first upwind break of the game.
Titcomb. Looking for the opportunity. Inside break for the score. Wide open.
Ooh, Shira Stern was in isolation there. Good job by her defender to shut her down, but Khalees Cardenas able to just step in while her defender wasn't looking. Wide open goal. And with that, we have Riot on top with the first break of the game, setting themselves up in a really advantageous position here to set that zone again, now with Iceni going upwind, and really make it difficult for them and apply some early pressure, looking for an early break here.
4-3, and we'll see right now, Iceni hasn't been able to advance the disc upfield. It's going to be difficult for them to stay in this game right now if Riot is able to get those turnovers. Like I said earlier, I like the strategy we've seen from Riot, playing a zone with just their handler covers. Go ahead and just back up, let you have the passes back, the overthrown swing. We'll see if Iceni can adjust.
Iceni is a team we haven't gotten to see a lot of here in the States, although they are dominant in their own country. They are the current UK women's national champions and have been a number of times, about 9 times since they became a club in 2004. They are also the current European club champions, winning gold here in 2013, and now testing their mettle against some American squads here at the US Open. This is better movement here from Iceni. They've adjusted their attempts. Oh, and just as I said that, an overthrow will give Riot the disc. Iceni had adjusted so that they were more attacking, moving their handlers forward and finding gaps in the cup rather than swinging, but just too far. And Riot will have a pretty short field here to go for another break.
Riot being patient, getting open underneath. They've been rolling in this tournament so far, and it's only taking a couple of possessions to break through upwind. Now would be the double break with the downwinder. Boyden with the disc.
It's Angelica Boyden for Riot. She was missing in their play yesterday, so some fresh legs for them. Nice break around the mark.
Turnover by Riot. Going to give Iceni a chance to go upwind, which they're going to need to match in order to stay in this game thus far. But even though early on this wind is going to be a factor, we have seen the wind die down throughout the day or speed up. So we're not sure how this game is going to continue on as far as conditions go. We see a trap zone by Riot trying to force 4-person cup onto the sideline. Not really give any options back, but only in the cup. Iceni able to swing out of it. I think in this instance, while I liked Riot zone going downwind, you're giving a lot of opportunities now for throws for Iceni to take their time without much pressure.
Certainly, when you're faced going upwind and it's stalls getting high and you don't have the ability to just find open people kind of crashing into that space, it can be quite daunting. Oh, and just if that can stay in, then it's just a brilliant throw. But Riot's newest defensive pickup, Kelly Johnson, getting in the way. She was an incredibly important asset for Nemesis last year. Has made the move to Riot. Very athletic.
Riot going the other way and a misfire. Icini's going to have to march 70 yards. Had a great opportunity last possession.
So now we see Riot trapping on this sideline. Iceni going to continue to look for those crashers to advance the disc.
Meixner. Comenda on the sideline looking for an option.
Got Kawhi back for Riot. See if she can make this deep play. And she is able to get in the way, but a foul is called.
Kawhi is jumping towards the receiver. Didn't really see where the disc was.
Didn't really see the disc, but saw the receiver, Mallory Miser, looking to get up, able to just get her body in the way. She didn't get any disc contact, but enough enough kind of distraction to cause Miser to not be able to reel the disc in.
Ruled no foul by the observer. I'm not sure if there was any contact. Iceni really going to be playing for the first time with observers, or one of the few times that they have in this international play here in the U.S. One of the reasons why the U.S. wanted the U.S. Open to bring in these international teams, and part of the 2012 World Congress in Sakai was being able to have these players experience observers from different countries. As a lot of, in WFDF, there are no allowed observers comparatively to the U.S. system, which has been experimenting for many years now. Riot going through it. Iceni getting the D.
It's a great D there for Miser, getting her D back after that miscue on that huck.
Meixner.
And I think Riot's Cup just giving them too much space now. It's, late in this point, multiple possessions. They're a little bit tired, just giving them that space. Now that's a little bit better.
And throw is behind the intended receiver. Riot going the other way.
Kate Kingery taking off for Riot, but Boyden's walking to the disc.
And timeout called by Riot here. Early goings, they're up 4-3. Riot trying to break to make it 2 more. And we're going to go ahead and take this to a commercial. We'll be right back with Next Gen Network's coverage of the 2014 U.S. Open. Back at the 2014 U.S. Open, Riot versus Iceni in the second round action in the women's division today. Riot leading 4-3 after an upwind break, trying to get the consecutive break downwind. Megan, Riot so far has built a 1-point lead and looking to do more.
Absolutely, and we see 2 of Riot's new pickups contributing immediately, kind of working that middle of the field. We've got one of them, Kelly Johnson, streaking deep right now. Was very much in a handler role for Nemesis, got huge blocks for them, and then would kind of run the O in transition. Now playing more, fitting into Riot's system, working as a cutter downfield. Oh, and just too much on that backhand from Kate Kingery, gives it back to Iceni. Riot trying to set the zone, but not quite able to get there.
Now transitioning to person defense and communication, trying to figure out which person to guard. Kelly with a disc. Erstein. Upfield. Scrampy to the goal, tipped. Can't come down with it.
That's Bailey Zonizer with the D. Previously a Riot player, standout player for Oregon, Fugue during their many title runs the last few years. Was injured last year with yet another ACL tear and sat out the season, but back. Big block for Riot there as Iceni was on the doorstep looking to make their own score upwind.
Sennheiser going downwind. Marathon point. Lots of turnovers. Nobody yet to score. Putting this out to space. Gonna fit right in. Kawhi open in the end zone for the goal. Riot goes up 5-3, extends their lead to 2.
Nice touch on this disc from Boyden out to space for Kawhi, and Kate Kingery with tons of room. Legs for days. And Riot up yet another break. I think a real missed opportunity for Iceni there. They had gotten the disc back. Riot was struggling to find those man-to-man marks. They're moving the disc well and just trying to force it just a little too much into that upwind side. Zoneyes are able to come up with a big block for Riot and give them that downwind break.
Iceni has certainly put themselves in a hole, but they need to answer here with the downwind. If you can stay close and you get that upwind break later on, you'll be set. Iceni playing with good confidence though early, and that's not something we saw out of and when we look back at the men's division yesterday, these London teams coming in international play, Clapham did not start out with confidence, dropping a lot of discs. Iceni not completing, making a couple of bad decisions there when they got close to the goal line, but hanging tough so far in this game.
And, you know, we saw from Clapham yesterday, they were without one of their key players early on, and that really kind of rattled them. Iceni's only brought about 14 people over here to this tournament, so definitely playing without some of their key pieces, but they have anchors in Ange Wilkinson out here, number 13 on this O-line, able to kind of keep them calm, keep them focused.
Burke, Varals. Looking back. Thompson. Wilkinson. Bryant. Iceni trying to do work. Riot staying off. Giving the backfield just fine. This wind still staying pretty constant. Iceni going downwind. Looking back for Burke. Bryant. 15 yards to go for Iceni. Poach off by Titcomb. Varals, it's overthrown. Pit called on the play. Not going to matter. Going Riot the other way.
Iceni going to need to apply that defensive pressure here on the on Riot's downfield cutters, making those resets hard. Nice work by Bryant on that handler D. They've really got to not let Riot just get out of this with some sort of big throw, force them to play in their backfield, try and get the disc back with just a short field, and not let them go up another upwind break.
Riot with a long way to go, 65 yards in order to get that upwind break. Iceni has to hang tough. Titcomb, the around. Stern. Good handler movement here and spacing. Now going deep. Tipped in the air. Gonna come down.
That was sheer Stern for Riot, looking for that deep look. A standout player for UW Washington's Element squad this year, making a semis run.
Izzy Burke with the D for Iceni. Varals does the smart thing. Nothing available backwards is going to force Riot to go 70 yards with a punt. But there is a stall called.
And a very active mark there for Molly McKeon forces Iceni to punt. Though it may be coming back if the stall is uncontested.
Contested stall. The disc will come in on 8. Barrels with the disc for Iceni. Disc in on 8.
There's a little bit of discussion on the play. Normally the ruling is if the throw is completed and a contested stall is called, then it comes back. But since there was no receiver on the end of that, the disc will stay back near the Riot end zone, and it will be Seattle's disc.
Wind really picking up even more now, gusting at its highest point. Riot going upwind yet again. 5-3, Riot leads by 2. Second round action here at the US Open, day 2. Happy July 4th. Pops up, Riot keeps possession. Kean puts it up for Titcomb, gonna hang. Titcomb comes down with it. Foul called.
And Riot throwing through the marks, looking for those breaks, and Titcomb able to come down with a big grab. Keep the disc alive for Riot, looking for their second upwind break of the game.
Titcomb, Ambler. Looking for the around, fouled on the play. Davis gets the around off. Ambler picks it up. Titcomb. Riot marching for another upwind break. And this could really bust this game wide open, but a drop in the middle of the field. Griffith.
Just a little lack of execution there will deny Riot that upwind break they're looking for and give Iceni another chance. They will call a timeout here. Long point. Going to take a second to regroup.
Iceni calling the timeout. We'll see if they can close the gap here. Back at the US Open here in Blaine, Minnesota, second round action, women's division. Iceni from London facing off against Seattle Riot. Riot was marching with an upwind break opportunity, but a drop by Sarah Griffith, and Iceni is now going the other way.
So Iceni setting up here in kind of a 3-2 stack. It's meant to give two cutters in isolation, kind of a lot of room to work. So we got Angie Wilkinson and Varal's kind of in that ISO look. But a poachy look here from Riot, stifling any attempt at a play right off of the bat.
Looking for the swing. Over the top, Wilkinson can't run it down, and another short field for Riot to work with. Kick home. Davis. Griffith. Foul called on the play. Burke a little tight on the mark. Stern. Ambler. Inside break. Can't come down with it. McKeon for the goal. Would have had it. Iceni with a chance to go downwind.
And if I'm Iceni here, I just go for it. We've got two deep looks downfield. Oh, but Molly McKeon gets a hand.
There's a call previously. Foul continuation, going to stay in Burke's hands. Burke, looking for Verrills. To Wilkinson, open in the end zone, fakes, has Burke, looking for Verrills instead. Verrills to the end zone for the score. Iceni brings it within one, 5-4. Riot still leads.
And Iceni gets away without unscathed from another upwind Riot break. And I think we may see from them making that adjustment more often to play a little less conservatively, to look to stretch it downfield and either play D in Riot's third or find those completions. Very much an upwind, downwind game at this point, and it would be a shame to waste the opportunity to put in a downwinder.
Riot's been one of those teams in this women's division that's been many times a bridesmaid but never a bride. What does Riot need to do to overcome that? Is it more of a mental aspect, or has it been a talent disparity that's caused Fury to come away with 7 straight and then now Scandal winning last year?
It's definitely not talent. I mean, Riot has so much talent coming out of that, you know, that West Coast powerhouse. So many schools. You have players coming from Oregon. You have players coming from Washington, Western Washington. Very strong programs with very strong histories in the college division. It's more about putting together the pieces, avoiding the injuries that have plagued this team, and really making sure that role players are executing where they're needed, but certainly not a lack of talent in the last few years.
Zanheiser with a drop. Iceni going the other way. Rampi looking deep, wide open.
There's that deep threat from Iceni that we talked about at the beginning of the game, failed to see in the last few points, but going back to their game plan.
Not afraid of this wind whatsoever. A lot of gusto going deep. Going for Scarampi, over the top. Can't make the play. Comenda looking to the end zone.
It wasn't a bad look. It just a little too much edge on the disc, just sails over the receiver's hands. And a missed opportunity for Iceni to be able to put Riot on their own heels, having to go upwind for no point.
We weren't sure if Iceni was going to get the opportunities early on in this game, but now Riot gives them a short field. Both teams not operating consistently in their own end. Looking for the break, looking for Preen, not there. Now looking for an option. High stall situation. Gets it off. Fake to the end zone. Kelly out in front. Tipped.
Oh.
Can't make the catch.
And those upwinders just getting away from them. All these discs have had just a little too much edge, so that players having to either go up or get down, and neither time being up to the task. Riot on the march yet again. Iceni looking for this break.
Looking for Johnson. Deed. Preen comes up with it.
And Alyssa Weatherford, whose break throws had been so crucial for Riot's success early on in this game. Just trying to do a little bit too much in a tight space. The defender able to get a hand on it before Kelly Johnson can get there.
Preen looking to the end zone. Going to Scarampi for the score and the upwind break. Tied at 5s. And now we'll see if Iceni can convert on the downwind situation. We have not had a clean possession thus far.
We have not. We may continue to not see that, and it will become a real case of grit and grr. We saw Iceni trying to dig out 2 opportunities in the red zone before finally able to come up with a third. I think it's also worth mentioning that it's not just hard going upwind. We saw Riot struggle there 3-4 times in a row, going downwind with that defensive pressure Iceni able to apply. We'll see which teams decide to adjust and really play more of a field position game, and which teams try to stick with the plan and execute a more possession-minded game plan.
You often see this in windy games. It's sometimes which is the first team to adopt the strategy of saying we cannot play possession in this wind, going down when we just have to punt and play D. Because if you can play possession and you can work it up, that's almost always the better option. But you have to prove that, and you have to be secure with that. And sometimes it's too late all of a sudden. Here it's not too late for either team. We're tied at 5s. So we'll see. Can which team make that adjustment faster? Riot came out great early on. I love the poachy zone look where they did not challenge the backfield throws and made Iceni throw a lot of throws that created turnovers in short fields. And right now, Riot, though, going downwind, has been throwing it away themselves, relying on isolation matchups.
They've got some strong throwers behind the disc for this upwinder. Rory Titcomb, Gwen Ambler, Shannon O'Malley, longtime faces of this Riot cohort. And if you want to score an upwinder, those are the people whose discs you want. You want the disc in their hands.
O'Malley now from Ambler. As you said, Titcomb really led the charge, I think, upwind in the last possession where Riot almost converted a couple of points ago. Would have broken this game wide open. Titcomb inside break to O'Malley. O'Malley to Titcomb. Ambler has the inside available. Caught. The end zone looking for the inside for the goal. Riot answers with another upwind of their own.
That was a fantastic possession by Riot. You have throwers like Rory Titcomb able to settle things down. It was a wonderful low backhand break for those swings. It allows your cutters time to find space, move downfield, reset their cuts, and regain separation. Eventually able to put it to Cardenas with a cheeky little IO to finish it off. That was well done by Riot. Good patient O.
6-5. Riot with a chance to get that downwinder, but both teams now settling in, proving they can work it upwind. The wind still going from earlier. Looking at the other squads in this women's division, we have Brute Squad and Traffic, who both scored victories over Fury yesterday, and Fury dropping another game this morning. First time in Maddie Singh's tenure they've had back-to-back losses. Scandal and losing to Fury. Iceni playing them close in the previous game.
I mean, worth mentioning, and I don't know how much we touched on it in the game yesterday, but Scandal without a lot of their kind of handling course. They're out Mercier, they're out Maddox, out Jenny Faye. Those are big names who are going to make a big impact. You know, so worth keeping in mind, giving some context to the tournament that Scandal's been having thus far.
Comenda with the disc for Iceni.
Seeing that side stack here again from Iceni, although moving into horizontal, we got a cutter streaking across.
Tipped in the air. Scarampi is there, but a D by McDowell gets it back.
Now Shannon McDowell without a mark, able to easily get that swing across.
Titcomb for the break. Griffith in the back of the end zone. In for the score. 7-5, Riot leads.
And there's some of that top speed we were talking about. Sarah Griffith, they call her Surge. She's out of Michigan. She's been an incredible player for this Riot team. And once she sees Rory Titcomb with the disc, knows what kind of touch she can put on it and takes off, able to just tow it in for that Riot score.
Iceni now can retort with their own downwinder. But if you're Riot here, Titcomb has been so impressive with going upwind. This would be her third straight point if she would stay. We'll see if Riot chooses to keep the train rolling, but it looks like Titcomb's going to take a rest here.
Well, Alyssa Weatherford will be up to the task of being that person to hit those breakthrows and kind of settle down that Riot O handler line. Griffith, however, will stay in. Actually, oh, no. That'll be Boyden back there with Weatherford and Stern. See if Riot goes with a similar zony look to keep Iceni playing in the backfield. And we do, it's less of a cup and more of a wall with, with the Shearer Stern, Alyssa Weatherford, and Cardenas up top. Applying pressure as needed.
Stern makes the decision to fly right in there to try to trap on the sideline. Iceni working at the wind, really picking up.
Hannah Kwai is back there for Riot. She is currently split. If Iceni can find one of them, continue to keep it with the handlers.
Nichols through, indeed by Riot. Griffith.
And Griffith can be so dangerous in that offside wing position. So much speed. The throw looks open, able to make up that ground, and Riot's back on the doorstep looking for another upwind break.
Kawhi. This one would be for half and give a 3-point lead. The wind howling. Griffith. Riot moving no problem against this wind. Looking for the around, Riot trying to stay patient. Kawhi. For half to Griffith for the score. 8-5, Riot goes into half with a 3-point lead.
Those are two lovely backhand breaks for Hannah Kawhi to keep that offense moving and eventually to generate that score. Good patience from Riot. Again, I go back to the elemental points of the game. Iceni not doing enough to take away those break looks, and Riot just able to capitalize.
I think you're also seeing from Riot, like you said, that great patience. And just again, going back to contrasting the international competition here, U.S. teams, once they get to the end zone and pivotal points, swinging it around, waiting for the opportunities. Iceni taking a couple more chances, and it's come back to bite them a little bit. They did have some open throws that they missed. Right now, a 3-point lead for Riot. We'll have to see going into the second half what adjustments teams can make.
Iceni, like we said, coming in with a small squad, 14 people. Still got another game yet today. We'll see if there's a point where they decide they're going to stay in and keep up the fight. I think, they have the ability to do so. Or if there's a point where they say, you know what, we're going to conserve our legs. We're going to focus on the next game and the next game after that.
We'll see if they can march back into this game in the second half. This is Next Gen Network's coverage of the 2014 U.S. Open.
This tournament really up for grabs, as well as, the national championship. And we've already seen that parity come out here this weekend with teams both having losses, showing some dominance, but then being inconsistent. And so this last game between Ironside and Revolver will be a great contest. Still no clear front runner out of those top four. It's going to be exciting.
Zone from Iceni as Riot's going upwind. And we'll see, Riot's throwers may be able to slice and dice through this. We'll see how the strategy works out for Iceni.
Whereas Riot's own cup was a 3-person, Iceni here going with the 4. But well done by Riot to just use that lateral space of the field, get around, and open things up.
Kingery gets it off Weatherford. In for the goal to Johnson. Riot makes short work of that, 9-6.
Yeah, and that zone just needs to be a little higher pressure there from Iceni. It's a scary place to be going upwind, and Riot made it look easy to get out of that. Not a lot of high stalls, a little break from Alyssa Weatherford for that goal to Kelly Johnson. That zone, if you're going to come out with it, you have to get tall, you have to be tight, you have to overcommit to creating a small space and not let them just easily dump swing around it.
Nine 9-6, Riot still with a 3-point lead coming out of half. Iceni kept themselves in this game with an upwind break. Right now they'll have their offense do it again. It's been a pretty blustery day so far. Wind starting to pick up midway through our first round game. It's been continuing on since.
Clouds in the distance getting a little darker, but hoping to steer clear of any thunderstorms out here at the National Soccer Complex in Blaine.
3 games a day for each squad, and then we'll have one last round of pool play tomorrow morning before moving on to the semis. We'll be doing 2 games tomorrow, the women's last round and women's semis to be determined. We'll have to make sense of all of these pools. Scarampy.
Riot here going with a force middle, hoping to get a D, but Miser making a nice grab over Fontanet.
Iceni being patient. Comenda. Iceni really likes to be patient for a little bit, then break it open with a throw. Preen has been a target downfield.
And that's been Captain Sonia Comenda with those series of little break throws, little backhands to open things up for Iceni.
The dump swing around. We have pick called on the play. This one going back. Fiona Kwan with a disc for Iceni.
Disc in on 3.
Still some discussion going on. We have our observers, Sheila Quintos and Linda Kudo.
Ruled that the pick did not affect the play. Disc will stay with Mallory Miser with the disc.
Going to the end zone, looking for Preen. And no foul on the throw. That one came out just a little bit of flop in the wind.
Now Riot's cutters finding a lot of room downfield.
Fontanet with the goal. Riot up by 4, 10-6. Breaking downwind.
And that's just an unfortunate wasted opportunity for Iceni. Just lack of focus, lack of execution when you're on the goal line. That turn happens and Riot wastes no time opening up the field. It's Molly McKeon with the huck to Dominique Fontanet.
And that's been the difference in the game so far. There's been several times that we've seen Iceni be able to move the disc, clearly can stay, talent-wise, hang with this team. Even with 14 players, they're doing a good job of that, but decision-making and execution near the end zone have not been their strong point, especially near the upwind end zone.
So Iceni, the O-line back out here, looking to get back on track. We headed downwind. Curious to see if Riot again comes with kind of that poachy junk look. 3 people up top. Limiting Iceni's throwers from kind of open, deep looks.
This is centered and running down off the pole. Stern almost gets the D. Wilkinson.
Riot is in man.
Thompson. Inside break. Wilkinson. Barrels. Jackie Barrels going deep for Wilkinson. Too far, out the back. Riot pops this one up looking for Stern. Riot comes down with it. Johnson. Johnson playing a big role for the squad so far in this game.
She was always going to be a contributor. She's a tremendous athlete. She's played on the world's team. She's a CrossFit instructor, one of the fittest people out there on the field at any time. She's a tough matchup. And she got block after block last year for Nemesis. We've seen one from her today, but certainly fitting well into this Riot system.
Johnson to Stern, up the line. Cutters have been working it well, and Riot continuing to work upfield. Kawhi and just getting comfortable working into this win. No problem, inside break to Titcomb. Another break for the score. Riot running away with this one, 11-6.
Looking completely unperturbed by the conditions. And this is what Riot has been wanting to get out of this weekend. They've been wanting to get back to the top, got their sights on that national title, looking to gel with some of these new pickups. We see Callie Johnson there to Titcomb. Titcomb back healthy this year, and just great little break after break.
11-6, Riot leads, built on upwind breaks. And if we look back at those keys of the game, and we've gone over this a couple times, Iceni has needed to limit the break looks from Riot, and they've been unable to do so. And just the quality of throwers has to be the difference in this game.
It certainly feels that way. I think, we've seen mistakes on both the throwing and the catching end. But certainly when you look at, the 7 players out on Riot's line, every one of them so comfortable with the disc, so comfortable with throwing around marks. And we see some of that from Iceni, but kind of less distributed throughout the 7 they have on the line. And it's been kind of that one just weak link towards the end zone that's caused them to falter.
Riot 4 points away from putting this game away. Iceni has shown some movement, but not been able to execute when it counts. Giving a valiant effort down with only 14 players. Comenda. Iceni choosing to dump swing. Staying patient. Scarampy immediately going deep for Preen. Preen was open, can't make the catch, in and out of the hands.
We've seen that connection work out a number of times so far today, but not this one. And Bailey Zonizer is making that run. Sarah Griffith, lovely little IO flick. Wanted the backhand, the mark jumped over. Got some great touch on it. That's an easy throw to just rifle out the back, but not this time. Great connection there for Riot's D-line.
12-6, Iceni in a precarious position. At this point, you have another game left today, another one tomorrow. You can't really open up lines. You're already down to 14 players. But you have to stay positive going forward. Just a great event, though, for these international squads. You don't get this experience anywhere else. You get to play against the top teams in the world. And it will be a lead-in, too. One of the, talking to some of the other players in the men's division, specifically about Clapham, who feels like they're underperforming a little bit, asking, can Clapham really hang with you when it comes down to Worlds? And they said, well, right now we're on our home turf. We didn't have to travel for this as much as they did. We'll see if when the Worlds happens in Lecco in early August, if these international teams can take the lessons learned home, have a little bit of a home field advantage. They won't be too far away, still a little bit of travel for them.
Well, they'll certainly have an opportunity to see each other again at that competition. Both of these teams will be making appearances at the World Championships this summer. But certainly Iceni will have some things to take home and think about. Hopefully that information transfers to the members of their team who are not here this weekend, and they can really bring those lessons forward as they tune up to compete on the world stage.
Bryant, Nichols, 4 handlers back and 3 cutters downfield.
We saw them at their best when they went for the deep looks, and they are setting themselves up to not have Riot defenders pull off of non-involved cutters, which we've seen them do time after time, and it works out for them.
Jackie Verrills reels it in. Great throw out to space.
That offensive set allowed them so much room downfield. You put your cutters in a one-on-one isolation situation, and Verrills so fast. Great throw. Mark bites over. And all Sarah Davis can do is really just give chase there. So London Iceni gets one back. Still 5 down to the Seattle Riot team. Seattle looking happy and comfortable, smiling faces on the sidelines.
And this is important for them, though, too. If you're looking at, depending on your goals for the weekend, and I think every team is coming in wanting to win it, but more importantly, they're looking ahead to use this to tune up for Worlds, get ready for the series as much as possible, which is still a long ways away. If you're Riot, don't give any reason for Iceni to hang around here. You've got the mojo on your side. You've been working it upwind, downwind. Weatherford with a disc. Kawhi fakes for the deep option. Now looks to go back. Weatherford gets it off. Ambler.
Riot's cutters continuing to grind. And Kawhi wide open.
And wide open in the end zone for the score. 13-7, Riot leads. And as we get to this 13th point, it's now time, as we see the replay. Wide open in the end zone. Time for our Patagonia play of the game. Bailey Zanheiser. Just a great player for this Riot squad, coming from Oregon originally in college.
Had to take a year off for an injury, but back and looking fit, contributing. Here we see her.
Number 15, great D. Iceni threatening upwind. Bailey Zanheiser gets the layout block.
Riot, I'm sure, happy to have her back.
If you're a team in need of jerseys, whether you're not a team that advances to regionals or whether you're going to nationals this year, be sure to check out Patagonia's team sponsorships, sponsoring any team, East Coast or West Coast. Be able to go on and log on with your individual pro accounts. Individuals can get all the discounts of all the Patagonia gear on Patagonia.com. (13-7) in the late stages of this one. Riot still pushing the pace. You see the energy by McKeon coming out in these late stages. Wilkinson going deep for Burke. Too far.
And so despite that sagging and those exuberant marks there from Riot, Wilkinson able to put one deep, but it's too far. So we got Rory Titcomb behind the disc to lead this Seattle March upwinder, looking to close out this game.
Foul called on the mark. Davis. Griffith.
Couple bobbles on the play, and Griffith is going to take an injury. Looks like she just got a cramp there. Coming down with that catch.
Okay, next point, do we want to talk about upcoming tournaments?
We've got Kate Kingery in for Sarah Griffith, who will pick up the disc. There's a violation on the call.
Clouds coming in looking a little bit menacing, but we're hoping that the rain holds off for our last round action of the day. In the men's division coming up next round, Ironside versus Revolver. Ironside, another one of those teams, always a bridesmaid, never the bride.
Shannon McDowell not able to catch that pass from Molly McKeon, and Icini's back with the possession.
Bryant Burke. Barrels, Jackie Barrels with the score, one of the bright spots for this London Iceni team. 13-8, Riot leads.
Farrell's been all over the scoreboard for Iceni this weekend. Able to take over when the moment comes. So we've got a few other score updates from around the field. Furious George just beating Columbia Evolution 15-6. And Sub-Zero remains trailing Revolver 13-8. That game coming close to being wrapped up. You can see on the field directly across from us, Fury looking to, I take it back, Scandal looking to make some marks against Riot. I'm sorry, I'm misreading.
We'll get it right
my
here,
tweet.
folks.
Scandal is up 10-9 on traffic in the field across from us.
We talk a lot about, we've used this term, the teams that are often bridesmaids. You have to go back to 1999 for the ultimate bridesmaid, Ring of Fire, second at sectionals, second at regionals, and second in the nation. There's just some of those teams, you can tell too, it's not necessarily a matter of talent. But as a turnover here, Iceni not giving up yet, going in the upwind direction.
Just a little too lackadaisical from Riot allows that Iceni D, the short field.
Kelly. And the horn for soft cap goes off. Iceni trying to stay patient. Comenda fitting into Preen. Preen makes the grab.
This is where they've gotten into trouble before, but find the outlet this time.
Comenda fits it in for the score, but a pick on the play. That's why the receiver was so wide open.
That was Roy Titcomb who got picked, and Dominique Fontenette trying to help her out.
Just get on 6.
Kelly inside break for the score. Preen. You see these two lines. It's been Preen on one, getting open downfield for Iceni and Verrills on the other. 13-9. Iceni with a bit of pride, sticking to it.
Stopgap horn did go off during that point. What do you know? Game to 15.
And, you know, that's a line that Riot's going to have to find. You know, they seem very calm, they seem cool, they seem comfortable with each other, but there's a moment where you can become a little too calm, a little too cool, and you allow those lapses where a defender can kind of step in and make that play while you're already thinking that the game's over. And so finding that focus, kind of that mental toughness at the end of a game to just close it out, maintain that intensity.
It's a hard thing to do to keep up the mental focus throughout an entire tournament. The teams that are often very good at it are usually the ones who are champions at the end of the day.
Wilkinson on the pull for Iceni.
Iceni 9 pulling to Seattle Riot with 13. It will be a game to 15.
Ambler running to the disc, and energy still from this Iceni squad. And a zone look, Verrills at the chase.
It's kind of a junky poach lick on the handlers, but man on the cutters.
Looks like a big sag right off the handlers off of an initial throw. Riot moving it around. And the pop-up slipped on the cut. Iceni going the other way. Did we speak too soon?
There's certainly time left for things to get interesting.
Wilkinson. Poach prevents the cut. Upfield Bryant. And a drop by Burke. Ambler. Ambler inside break. Foul called on the play.
This is smart here for Riot's O-line. They're ready to drop into a kind of zony, poachy look, disallowing Iceni to just immediately have kind of the full depth of the field, force them to turn it right back. But now we have a foul call on the play. This will come back to Ambler. This will be in on 0.
Riot moving it upfield for O'Malley. Up the line. Johnson cutting to the cone, not available. Back to Stern. We've seen this from Riot, the ability to dump swing, hit those break lanes. To Stern. Stern inside break, O'Malley. The flip to Johnson, the fake, and a call on the play.
Johnson wanted to go with that IO right away, but a little bit of contact.
Johnson. Ambler, now Johnson burning up the line to O'Malley for the score. Upwind 14-9. Squashing any hopes of an Iceni comeback.
We thought that O'Malley slip was going to let them back in, but the drop gives it right back. And now Riot 1 point away from closing out this game.
Looking throughout this season of Next Gen, we have some upcoming coverage coming up next weekend. We'll be looking at the Chesapeake Invite, the Pro Elite Challenge, July 12th and 13th. And then we'll finish up this season August 30th and 31st at the Pro Elite Challenge, being moved from Santa Cruz because of drought up to the ECC location in Seattle. Be sure to tune into all of Next Gen Network's coverage. We have one more game today in the men's division, 2 more games tomorrow before ESPN will take over and do the other remaining semis. It's been great to be here so far.
We hope the weather will hold for our last game. It's kind of a little bit dark.
A little ominous coming in, but temperature is good, at least a cool breeze.
Great pull from Titcomb, and ballsy job by the Iceni offender, Sonia Comenda, to reel it in.
Green. And Zanheiser coming up with another D, a catch block this time. Preen just behind. And McDowell trying to put the finishing touches. Not there.
Don't think she was on the same page as her receiver, and Wilkinson able to get a little touch on it, so Iceni will have another chance to stay alive in this game. Comenda to pick up the disc.
Scarampy. Kelly. Preen. Meixer. Back to Preen. Wilkinson. Wilkinson going deep. Scarampy there in the end zone. Big layout. Can't get there.
Scarampy having a big game for this Iceni team despite the score. Wilkinson finds that big crossfield backhand and it hangs. We have the Riot defender closing. That's Angelica Boyden and Scarampy. Usually we've seen her on the assisting end with a lot of hucks today, but coming up big as a deep receiver in this Iceni point.
14-10, hard cap is looming. Iceni most likely playing for pride here.
But playing well, that Riot defender is looking a little tired that last possession. A lot of open side throws before that that final throw to Scarampy.
(14-10), 4-point lead built on looking back in this game, really up when down when the start. It was close. It was tied at 5s. Riot then took an 8-5 halftime lead and really has not looked back since.
You know, I think we have to give a little bit of credit to Iceni to stay in this game, to stay energized, to still get something out of it and really hold themselves, you know, accountable to staying in this game. We have an offsides call, so we'll go back. Because it was the second offsides, Riot will get the disc at half, making it a lot easier on this Riot squad looking to punch him in this last upwinder.
After the offside call, some confusion of what's going on. Okay, defense now able to set. Iceni has not played with observers before.
Yeah, that's just the discrepancy between the rules they play with in Europe and what we play with here. But everyone on the ball now.
Weatherford looking up for Ambler, not there. Verrills comes in, makes sure it's going to hit the ground.
Had isolated Ambler there. She's calling a foul, appears to be uncontested, so Riot will maintain possession.
Ambler can put this one away for Riot, and O'Malley streaking up the line. Weatherford to Ambler. Johnson not available. Inside break. Caught in the back for the score. And that's going to do it. Riot gets 15. Iceni has 10. Not enough for this London team, but a great effort to stay with it through this game with only 14.
Cardenas makes the bid, misses it, but Lawson back there for security. Reels in the Riot goal.
Difference in this game was Riot's ability to break the mark going upwind.
Absolutely, and I think we talked about that from the beginning. Something that Iceni wasn't able to contain despite different defensive looks. Riot can feel really good about having executed so well in that part of their game plan.
Well, that does it for round 2. We have another men's division game coming up next round. Ironside facing Revolver, but this one is done. Seattle Riot wins 15-10 over London Iceni. For Megan Multene, I'm Brian Jones. We'll be right back with our third round action. Be sure to stay tuned. Next Gen Network's 2014 coverage of the U.S. Open.